Good evening, everyone. Another good Friday is what we have. We have today, a famous trainer, Tamoshi ma'am, with us, who will guide us through, the most critical round of PI, VAT, and GDPI and VAT. So, before she starts speaking, I know everyone wants to hear her, but before she starts speaking, I'll just take 5 minutes to set the tone for the session today. Yes, so you know, fabulous results. But after those fabulous results, what really matters is because this time is a very important time for you to prepare for all these three areas. Is because everyone now that you competing with has a similar percentile. A couple of percentiles here or there, we all understand, happen because of a few marks. And everyone of the same aptitude, at least the same written aptitude, is now going to compete with you. Earlier, what was happening was a 100 percentiler or a 99 percentiler was also competing with someone who did not get a great percentile. But let's take now you've got a 95 percentile and you appearing for these GDPI and VAT for a particular B school. Everyone around also has a similar percentile. And that's where this part now becomes very, very critical. Obviously, we've got at Hitbullseye, we've got a fantabulous result this time again. So a lot of students now want to understand how to prepare for this session. And we have, Tamoshi, I would say that is speaking to all of you from Bombay. So welcome, Tamoshi, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
The couple of things over the last 17, 18 years, which I've realized is the confidence with which the person carries into this round. So whenever you remember everyone, because आप सबके लिए maybe it's the first time or the second time when you're going for it. When you are going for these sessions, the way you carry yourself inside it, the finer points will obviously be taken by the guest faculty we have today. But when I was preparing 20 years back, one thing was sure that the moment you enter, people around you are observing you. Your acceptability towards the batch which you're going to compete with. So GDPI is nothing else but interacting with those 10, 15 students who are present there at that time. So I personally feel that that confidence which you carry, the moment the person sees you, it needs to be there. You need to establish that unsaid chord with the person whom you're going to have a group discussion with, because only then will that person let you speak. You cannot be aloof and suddenly want to try and speak in the group discussion. So again, in a very limited, what I'm saying is that group discussion is not about those 10, 15 minutes that you are with everyone. It starts way before that. Right, ma'am? Am I right?
Absolutely.
Same goes for a PI. It's not that everything in a personal interview is going to be something which are going to be new kind of questions. No, if you're well prepared, 95% of those questions are going to be what you have prepared and what she is going to talk to you and tell you about today. And if you're 95% prepared for that interview session, I think you're going to handle it better. How can you guide to the right path? How can you guide the interview panel to the right path and make them ask you questions is what is our agenda today. So congratulations to all of you in a very limited time that I've got before she starts speaking, is that congratulations to all of you. Written examination more or less done. Some left, yes, we will be preparing for it as well. But now starts the major preparation of the final push to get into a good B school. And the preparation for this needs to start immediately now, because you need that 15, 20 days, 25 days to brush up, put what is right for yourself in the resume, and present yourself and sell yourself. I'll put it that way, in a very crude way though, and sell yourself in front of the panel. So over to you, ma'am. You are the expert. You've done it for so many years. We welcome you again this year. Please, over to you for the next whatever time. Speak out, and then we'll answer the questions which are coming up. Yes.
Sure. So first of all, thank you, sir, for welcoming me in such a nice manner. So good evening to all of you. And as sir said, congratulations to all of you. You have cleared the first round. So the confidence should be up that yes, aage bhi hoga. That should be the zeal that you should have with yourself. So sir has rightly pointed out few pointers with which I should start. That whether I talk about GD, PI, and what, right? In this 3 round, the most important thing is self-confidence, right? Self-confidence, which we call as Shraddha. Shraddha means something we always relate with religion, but Shraddha is something which also relates with self-confidence. So what does actually self-confidence mean? That we have to understand, because these are the 3 rounds which will be little bit out of the way. जो अभी तक आप लोगों ने शायद नहीं किया है, शायद किया है, थोड़ा सा अलग भी होने वाला है. Now, for example, like there are hard work people are doing, people want to hit a ball and they're trying, but after some time people say कि कुछ difficult thing होगा, कुछ मतलब hard thing try करना होगा, उसके पहले लोग बोलेंगे यार precondition है confidence. But confidence is not the precondition. That you have to understand. It is a side effect. That means hard work is overrated everywhere. Consistency is underrated. Please mark these 2 statements, which are very important for your next 3 rounds. That is consistency. Okay, consistency. Now the question will be, what is consistency, ma'am? People are telling that work on your dreams, work on your goals rather, and have a clarity about your goals, because these are the questions that will be asked. Now the point is, you have to understand goals are just dreams. I'm very pragmatic today, and that we all should be, because then only you can get reflected in a very nice way. Habits are something that is reality. So you have to build your habit for this 3 specific round. From the beginning of your journey, it has been constantly said by your mentor that read or check out the things that is going around you, right? And I'm sure many people have done justice to it. Many people who are not following it. Maybe some people are not an avid reader, right? But now this is the right time when you have to build your habit. And the first habit should be consistency, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, but with that reality. Work should be done. And what is that reality work? The reality work is working on yourself, working on your self-confidence. So what is working on your self-confidence? I'm sure many of you have checked a very famous book. अगर नहीं देखा होगा तो थोड़ा सा देख लेना. It's 6 Pillars of Success, right? It's a very written by a very famous psychologist, right? Nathaniel Branden. So if you read that book will make you understand what is self-confidence. How can I gain self-confidence? So there are 3-4 parameters. First is self-efficacy. What is self-efficacy? I can. Eliminate the word I cannot. Whether it is writing ability test, whether it is GD, whether it is PI. So believe in yourself. Second, your responsibility is your own. So self-responsible. My dream, my responsibility. My performance, my responsibility. My knowledge, my responsibility. And if you believe in this way, you will see that you're not blaming anyone. You're actually self-introspecting yourself. You're understanding where you're standing, right? There are some B school who also goes for this psychometric round. For the psychometric round, this kind of belief is very much important, that whatever is there, it's my responsibility. So I have to be responsible. I cannot pass these things. I cannot blame these things. And next, very important is self-direction. Generally, for goal setting exercise, which is a very important task that we need to do when we will be opting for PI, generally we write down what we want to achieve. But I'm sure there are many people in the audience today who will tell, ma'am, अगर ऐसे बोला जाता है ना, हम नहीं लिख पाते हैं. So do it in an opposite way. क्या करना है? Just write down the things that you don't want in your life. मतलब, it is not that you have to follow the regular procedure every way. You have to go out of the box. Try it in a different way. So the different thought process, thinking out of the box, will definitely help you to shine in these 3 rounds. Because sir has said a very important pointer that you have to sell yourself. What is interview? Interview is selling your skill set. How can you do? How can you be different from others? You can be different from others when you do in a different way. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है बहुत ज्यादा different, right? Normal से बहुत ज्यादा बाहर चला जा रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. A balance is required. Right. So moving on. So as I was talking about this 3 pointers or 3 parameters, that is GD, PI, and writing ability test. So all of the rounds has to be taken very seriously. It's not like that. For example, there are lots of myth, especially for writing ability test. अरे ये तो होता ही essay writing है. We are writing essay since class 1. So क्या special होने वाला? It's going to be very easy. But no, it's not going to be very easy, or it's not going to be very tough. The point is, if you are practicing, if you know what you can expect, if you know the trend, if you're aware about different types of writing, different types of topic, if you're writing daily, not only reading, now it's writing daily is also important for this essay writing. Over to you, Deepak sir, if you want to add something.
So, obviously, what I like to add here is that these are the 3 different areas. We need to devote time to each of these 3 different areas in a specific way. So GD, we have to prepare in a particular way. PI, we have to prepare in a particular way. GD or case study for that matter. PI, we have to prepare in a particular way. And obviously for the written test, we have to prepare in a particular way. And rightly said, if you're not writing it down every day, it's not going to happen. Similarly, if you're not going to put in sincere efforts for a GD or a personal interview, it's not going to happen. So I think now, let's cover all the 3, what we need to do, all the 3. And, my questions to you will keep coming up, but I'll ask you more questions from the student side so that they are very clear that how do they need to go about all these 3 sections.
Sure. Yes. So if I first start with GD, right? So if I start with GD, and one common factor between GD, WAT or VAT and PI is the content. You have to understand content is the king. If you're lagging with the content, you cannot manage these 3 rounds, because topic can be from anywhere, right? It can be any topic given to you. It can be like rose is red, sky is blue. Let's have a GD on it. Or let's have one essay writing on it. So how to manage, right? So for that, it's very important to understand that where you are standing. If you have to judge yourself that content wise, let me see where I'm standing. Right? Little bit of self-work has to be done. This is the right time where you have to self-introspect. Again and again, I'm telling you. You will understand if you feel like, okay, I'm very good with the content, I can go with the flow. Now the next challenge comes. Why writing ability test? We are going all this writing rounds. We are clearing all this written rounds. And then we are all going for GDPI. Then why essay writing? Essay writing, because your writing part will be checked. Not only that, it is a way to check your personality, because when we talk about writing reflects our personality. What kind of arguments we are putting in? Whenever we are putting in some arguments, are we having proper evidence, facts with us to prove that point? How we are able to persuade people, right? Because it is also a skill set that you have to convince other, right? So that is also checked with your writing ability test. So most important tips I will give you for writing ability test will be start reading. If you're not into that, push yourself for it. Second, if you're reading a similar kind of things, please come out of it. That will not help you. Try to understand, you have to read from different areas, but also you have to read different style of writing. Then only you will understand what kind of style of writing you are comfortable with. Right? Whether you're comfortable with factual writing, whether you're comfortable with analytical style of writing, whether you're comfortable with persuasive writing, whether you're comfortable with expository writing. Until and unless you read this kind of materials, this kind of things, you will be not aware about it. So what will happen? You will have content, but when you're writing, maybe the style of writing is not getting enhanced. Maybe the style of writing you want to write, that is not getting reflected. Because generally for essay writing, you have to keep in mind, suppose we are checking out one article, what we do? We read the headline. If we really like that, we go to the intro. If we really like the intro, then we decide whether we are going to read the whole thing or not. So same is going to happen with your writing part. If you cannot give one particular introduction that is up to the mark, if your reader is not satisfied with your style of writing by the introduction, maybe the assessment will be not done. So that is what you have to keep in your mind, that my style of writing, my content, my thought process, everything has to be balanced. Now, moving next to PI. When we talk about PI, generally people consider it will be an introduction. It will be something related with strength and weakness. Maybe it can be something related with goals, right? But you have to go beyond that. So, what is beyond that? Beyond that, you have to understand what is actually PI and what kind of question can be expected. So, when we talk about B school PI, there can be rounds like resume based, there can be rounds like situational based, there can be rounds like your subject oriented based, there can be rounds like some kind of current affairs will be put. So, you never know what they're going to ask. If your day is going to be rather your bad luck is going to be very good, then your PI can get extended for 35 minutes, 40 minutes. And if you God forbid, it should not happen with anyone, if with God's grace it can be 5 to 10 minutes also, because within that only the clarity will be there, right? So you have to understand that my preparation should be holistic one, and it should be from every area. I should be aware about my subject too. You should not take your subjects lightly, because this is the right time. If you start with your subjects, right, one or two which you feel that you are confident and you can deal with that, you should start with that, because later on it will be too late, because the syllabus is going to be huge. You have to manage, right? Now, one pointer that I want to add on over here, as we are all going for MBA, and suppose one person is from science background, this is actually, I've seen people, they face this kind of difficulty. So maybe that person is not into the reading of business or economic news or economic terminologies, right? For those kind of students, those kind of audience, my suggestion will be start getting habituated with this kind of reading. Again, that will help you, right? Questions can be any, like they can ask you about financial leverage. So if you don't know what is financial leverage, how you're going to manage, and they can ask you, they're justified in their thought process because you're coming from MBA, no matter what background, right? So this is the right time. If you start with the things, that will help you. Over to you, Deepak sir.
Yeah, so you rightly put it that for all the three, one is that we need to have the basics right. We need to read a lot, and that is what is going to determine the success. Another thing which I'd like to add here is, please don't brush anything under the carpet. If you've heard of something which you're not aware about, please Google it. Google is your best friend. Google it immediately on your phone and read about it. So what am I talking about here? Let's take you hear something about drones being supplied by Iran in the Russia-Ukraine war. So understand the background. Understand how are they affecting. Obviously, they're supplying to Russia. How are they affecting the war? Similarly, there's a cold storm which is happening in the US. Okay, and the coastal areas are getting affected really badly. So how is this? So this is related to the weather. Again, something which is electronic vehicles coming in. You need to read about it. Okay, so as we say, apart from the abstract topics in group discussion, you need to be at least aware about all these happenings around you. Then, ma'am put it very rightly that, please, if you're not writing down every day, you're not connecting your thoughts. You don't know how to put your thoughts on the paper and put your thoughts in a very logical manner. I'm not talking about only English here or putting down it in heavy words. No, that's not the point. Why that section is being asked from you. It's all about, they want to understand your thought process. Maybe you're not able to express it rightly in a PI or a GD. Hence, they want that section as well for you. And you need to write every day to get updated with it. Similarly, in a personal interview, there are questions which are going to be from the GK section. If you don't make a habit of reading diverse topics, you would not be able to be successful there. So for my interview in UBS, I was asked, what is the success story of, there used to be certain CDs at that time, very famous company, because obviously CDs are not that famous right now, but they used to be a very famous company, and one of the marketing professors, female marketing professors, asked me that what do you think is the reason of such discs doing really well? Now, hang on. I don't know why that question was asked to me, but it came all of a sudden. But I was well read. I was able to talk something about it. They appreciated it that even if I was not from a background, I could put my thoughts into words and put it across for the panel, and that's how the discussion developed. So please read diverse topics. That's very important. Ma'am, now I'd really like to ask you. So this is taken care of. What are the specifics? Let's give 5 minutes to GD, 5 minutes to each of these sections, and let's communicate with the students. What do they actually need to do, right? Apart from content building. Over to you.
Sure. So first and the foremost, I will start with PI only. So if, as sir was saying, that it can be any topic, it can be anything they can put up, right? Suppose you're talking about your hobby and somebody said, I love cricket, right? Or I have played state level cricket and all, right? A question simple can be like, can you tell me the diameter of a cricket ball? Now think, a question like that can also pop in. So you have to understand whatever you're going to speak, you should do a little bit research work regarding that. Whether it's your hobby, whether it's your dream, whether it's your planning, whether it's your subject, because question can be anything. So more you are into the process and little bit depth. Sir has said very, very rightly that it's not like only upper se read karna, superficial way. Now you have to go to little bit of depth so that in case of such question or asks, you can immediately answer to show that yes, I have considered cricket very seriously, a kind of reflect that if you're talking that cricket is your passion, how much you really love it, how much you have researched about it. Because for MBA, two kind of mindset are required. I don't know, I believe in it. Sir will tell later on that how much you're good with people and how much you're good with numbers. These are the two things that are cross-checked, right? So these are the two basic information that is always lingering in their mind, that is it like the student has come superficially for the thing, or is it like they have prepared? क्योंकि इंटरनेट में तो बहुत ज्यादा सैंपल क्वेश्चन मिल जाता है, so from there they have mugged up the answer and they have come with that. So that should not happen. So you need to sit with yourself and you need to find out that suppose I'm talking about my strength. What are exactly my strength? It is not like that my friend has said so or internet is saying so. It can be anything out of the box also. So sit with yourself, understand what actually you are looking for or what is the thing you are comfortable with, because every question will be something where you can face cross question. So if cross question pops up, if you're confident about your answer, if you're doing it from your heart, then only you can deal with it. And suppose you're not doing it, you are just superficially dealing with the things, you're mugging up the things, then it will be a big problem for you. Next, if I talk about PI more, as I said you, that it's very important to understand that it can be subject related question. It can be situational based question given to you. Suppose it can be asked like, can you explain or can you describe this interview room? So imagine a question that also can pop up. Or they can ask you something like, can you tell me what is the rate of gold today? So anything can be there. So for that, first, knowing yourself and knowing about your environment are the two important steps, two important techniques that we should follow while we are going for PI. Moving to the next one will be GD. Now in GD, what happens? We mix it up. We mix it up like it's about like quantity. It's about like I have to sometime keep my tone at very high pitch and something to enter the discussion. It's sometimes like I'm not having any kind of pointer, so I will remain silent throughout the whole process. So all this myth has to be debunked, and that can be done when you attend one concept class. Believe me, because there is so much mix and match information given on the internet that can confuse you, right? So you have to follow correct technique. Sir has mentioned it at the beginning only. So when we come for GD, we have to understand that it's not about quantity. It's about your quality. It's about your points up to the mark. Now, there is lots of confusion again that is it like I have to take a side only to enter a GD? Is it like I have to be extreme against or extreme for to present my points or my thinking or my thought process about that particular topic? Absolutely no. If you feel that you're not comfortable with the extreme ends or if you're not able to decide on that point that which side you should take, you can enter in neutral. No problem with that. Suppose you don't have any points with you. Why to remain silent? Listen to others. Listening to others is very, very important. And for PI and GD, listening skill is another important skill that you have to develop. Remember, I said habit building. Why I talked about habit building is it is not only for PI or it is not only about content. There are many things that you have to develop. Listening skill, time management skill. You have to understand how much I have to speak. If given a chance, sometime a questioner asked, like, tell me something more about yourself. Or there is sometimes some extempore round, and it is said that speak about yourself. Or a question can pop up, speak about your hairstyle. And I'm speaking to an extreme point that should not be there. I'm speaking very less, that is not going to work out. So I have to balance out that how much I'm going to speak, what are the information that I'm going to bring to the table, because keeping in mind that cross questions can be there and I have to handle them. And with full confidence, I have to handle them. Right. So for PI and GD, as I said, that there are many skills that you have to develop. Your communication skill, very important. Next is time management skill. Next is your body language, which is very, very important, which is cross-checked over there, right? Dressing etiquette, many parameters are there, and I'm sure your people are very well versed about dressing etiquette. I will not go into that, but rest are the skills is something that you have to develop. And again, that habit making process has to be followed. Because I can give you one example while talking about body language. Suppose a person has a habit of sitting cross-legged. It's a habit. A person, when doing the same thing in GD, it will be not considered as a positive one, right? So we have to understand that unconsciously what kind of mistakes we are doing. So we need to judge, we need to go for more mocks, we need to follow the concept that what are the things we need to follow. And right concept matters. Next, I will switch to the last one, that is writing ability test. So I already talked about writing ability test. I already talked about the content part. Now let's come to the another important part, that is balancing your language. Somebody will believe that I have to use jargon, I have to use robust English, I have to use terminologies. No, nothing like that is required. If you want to keep it simple, but there should be no grammatical errors. There should be no spelling errors. There should be no formatting errors. So these are the kind of another parameter that you need to balance out. Now, suppose you're into a habit of reading and you're also into a habit of writing. But when you're writing your essays, you're giving logical points, facts, but still you feel that something is missing. That means you're a good writer, you're a good essayist. Now, how to become Francis Bacon? Simple. So to become Francis Bacon, I'm sure you know about Francis Bacon. He's the father of English essay. So that's why its name popped up in my mind. So to be or to take your essay to that kind of level, you can add some kind of quotation. You can add some kind of idioms, some kind of proverbs, right? Some kind of phrases, some kind of connecting words, which can make your writing up to the mark. So it's not again about terminology, jargons, or super English. It can be done with simple things. But if you follow the technique, again, that technique part comes into the picture, it can be managed in a very balanced way. Over to you, sir.
So very rightly put, ma'am. And what I like to add here is obviously, we were not trying to answer all the questions that are, that would be coming to your mind right now in a 1-hour session. Obviously, there's a curriculum which is designed for you, but we feel that all these things can be done in a concentrated way over the next few days, weeks, month. And you can come up the curve and put your best foot forward for all these 3 rounds. So that's the first thing. Don't feel as if, there's so much to be done. Would you be able to do it in a month's time? Yes, you would be able to do it. That's how everyone's been doing it over these so many years. But obviously from this session start. That's the first thing. Now, for the personal interview, yes, we feel that 70% of the interview is obviously, at least 70% of the interview is going to be from your area. But what causes the problem is the 30%, which might not be from area. Now, maximum of 30%. So what am I trying to say here is that, you will get out on that 30% area. So in cricket, the bouncer is not, all the 6 balls are not bouncers. Only 1 ball per over can be a bouncer. But that 1 out of 6 is 16%, right? Even that 1 ball can get you out. A world international batsman, he can get out. So 30% is not a small amount, it's a significant amount. 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5 is a significant, 4, 5, whatever, is a significant amount. And that's what you need to be very comfortable with. Or you will be comfortable with that only if you're comfortable with the other 70%. So that needs to be something that you have to be really prepared about. Write down everything. Take a separate notebook. Write down all the questions that can first understand yourself, strength, weaknesses, what have you done in the past, all questions that can be asked from it. After doing that, please Google the questions of your area. So let's say I'm a quant expert. If I'm a quant expert, what are those famous questions of quant which are always asked? I need to Google it. I need to brush it up with that. Obviously, there's a scientific way in which we've designed a module as well, and you'll understand. Second comes for the GDPI. So there's a way in which you enter. There's a way in which you handle a conflict situation. There's a way in which you put your point across. Now, giving a very, very simple, putting very simple point across to you, I set the tone there as during the starting of the session as well. In one of my interviews, there was a student who went around shaking hands with everyone, wished all the best, said all the best to everyone. Now understand that, he comes up to me and says all the best. So when I'm going to the group discussion, I have a soft corner without even consciously realizing I have a soft corner for this person. So what do you do at that time? You can be on both the sides. You've done it, but someone is attacking you. So confronting you. What do you do at that time? We'll show you a lot of videos over this next 1 month, making you understand how did people good in group discussion handle those points? What is not to be done? What kind of body language is communicating what? So those videos will also be shown to you to come up the curve, right? And understand that complete do's and don'ts. Now for the third, writing ability. So, by very rightly put by ma'am, there are certain points, certain idioms which you need to, go through them. Those 50, 100, if you understand, if you include one of those without using heavy English, I mean, why not? Can't you do 50 or 100? Right? If you know you have a good call lined up, I'm sure you can do it. You can include them in your writing. And that's where the journey of success begins, right? So the next 1 month, that's what is going to happen. And, before, giving it back to ma'am, I'll request everyone, if you have questions, please keep putting it on the YouTube channel. This is being telecasted live on the YouTube channel. Please keep putting your questions there. We'll try to answer all of them. At least we'll keep today's session as a starting point for this preparation so that, you have a comfortable, not a comfortable journey, don't have such a comfortable journey because you're trying to learn so much, but we'll try to smoothen it out at least. Over to you, ma'am. Yes. So what do you think, give us some examples about over your past experiences, how were situations handled in all the three sections? What was the topic and how would a good student do it and how would a not such a good student do it? Over to you.
Sure. So first I will take the example of essay writing, right? So generally people consider that essay writing topics can be anything like factual. There's some evergreen topics, sir. If I consider for GD as well as for essay writing, like population, cryptocurrency, management can be taught. These are the evergreen topics which we say. So people are in a habit of going through those, and people often tends to neglect some kind of topics which are related with current affairs, right? So there can be a situation where snippets can be given, where precis writing can be also given. These are extreme cases, I'm telling. There are situations where case-based discussion or case-based writing can be given, like a current affair topic given to you, a small kind of snippet kind where some little bit of information given to you, and you have to carry on with the whole things, whatever you feel regarding the topic. So that means in advance, I have to be prepared. I have to know. I have to be in the correct platform to know what can I expect, so that later on, I will not say, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था कि ऐसे topic आने वाला है, या मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था कि ऐसे style of writing भी आने वाला है. So you have to be prepared. Now, second pointer, लोग क्या करते हैं while doing essay writing? They try to follow the same technique. They try to follow while writing factual writing, abstract writing, case-based writing. We have to understand, as I said before also, that this are different style of writing. In the same way, this three or this different kind of topics has to be handled in a different way. That means technique should be different. If my style of writing is different, so technique should be different. So there are different techniques for different kinds of essay writing topic, whether I consider factual topic, whether I consider abstract topic, whether I consider case-based writing. Moving on to PI. As I said you that in PI, people sometimes becomes overconfident and they don't know where to stop. And if some question like, what is your weakness? They're blabbering a lot on their weakness. So that is not also the correct way. You should understand how much I have to speak. What are the things I'm going to bring to the table? Because there can be cross questions. And in the same way, there are people who are a little bit overconfident with the help of Google Mata, I should consider. So they will say something, I have a habit of going to the depth of everything. So I feel that's my weakness. Now, bombarding of cross questions. So if I'm trying to be overconfident, do I have the capability to consider that kind of situation, to face such kind of situation? That I have to understand. Then there are two ways. I can be straight direct, or I can be a little bit diplomat with my answer. So you have to understand what kind of character traits, what kind of skill set you have. And according to that, you have to fall into the right category. Suppose you are a very...
Yeah, question comes to my mind, because we covering it, I like you to... Why are weaknesses asked, by the way? Are they, what's the reason? I want you to clarify this to the students, because some people, we have these questions coming up every year that should we actually tell our weaknesses? Is it the right thing? So over to you. Tell us, why is this question asked and how should the person answer it? Yeah.
So suppose when a question like weakness pops up, so there are two ways, sir, by which we should handle it. That I will let you know. Then I am coming to the question why it is asked. So first, you can be straight direct. You have to admit that, yes, this is my weakness, but you have to give them the confirmation that I know about it and in the background, I'm working on it. Suppose I see that data analysis is going to be my weakness. I'm not good with that. I'm not aware about that. And I'm giving the confirmation to the person that already I see that this is a threat for my existing role. So I am already taking a course or doing something where I can work on it, right? And the other way is diplomat. As I said, that I consider coffee as my weakness. I need a cup of coffee in every 2 hours or every 1 hour, something like that. So you're trying, one way you're trying to be honest, another way you're trying to not say the thing, or you can put your positive attributes in the weakness. As I gave you the answer for the first one, like I love to go to the depth of everything. So you're talking about your positive attributes in the weakness. Now, why this question is asked? This question is asked just to understand that, are you admitting that you are having some kind of weakness attributes with you? Are you really aware about it? Are you really aware about the threat that you're going to face? And how much after doing self-introspection, you're working on it? So how honestly you're dealing with your threat in a very simple way. आपको पता है कि आगे आग है. So आप protection क्या लेने वाले हो? Are you really working on it? Because every time we talk about the positive, given a chance, we will be only adding good adjectives with our character traits, right? We don't want to speak negative about ourselves. We never want to share that what kind of threat, what kind of facade we have with ourselves, right? So that's why this kind of question are asked, just to understand that, are you aware? Are you really working on it? Are you admitting it? How much honest you are? Those are the pointers.
So I'd like to add here, that first of all, let's all of us understand we all have weaknesses. And saying that we don't have one is like hitting ourselves with an axe. Okay, so it's very clear that you don't know yourself. Another thing is, I like to give an example here to make this point very clear. is that let's take, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, anyone pick up any cricketer earning tons of money, right? More than what even we can imagine getting as a final package after replacements in a B school. They're earning tons of money, but even they have weaknesses. Now, Rohit Sharma walks in, Virat Kohli walks in, says, I have no weakness. I don't need to practice anyway. And, I'll hit 100. No, that's not possible, right? So even the bowler knows that he has a weakness, but that's a game of not doing what the bowler knows, that this is the weakness, this is a technical error which is there, and not getting trapped in it. So they want you to understand that, do you know your weakness, so that you're not getting trapped in it. Okay. A bad player is one who will know the weakness. The worst player is one who does not know the weakness. Okay. A bad player is one who knows the weakness and still gets trapped. A good player is one who knows the weakness but never gets trapped. That's the whole game here. That's why they're asking you weaknesses, but you don't have to get trapped. Now, if you, let's take, you say, I'm short tempered. I'm not saying whether you should say that or not say that, but as of now, just taking that example, let's say I'm short tempered. So they'll put up a situation to you, wherein they'll try and understand, did you lose your temper? Did you get, was there a rush of blood in your head? But were you able to come out of it?
Absolutely.
Okay. That situation in a good B school. In a bad B school, they'll give you an example and say, want to check how would you handle a particular situation. In a good B school, they'll make an environment in such a way that you get trapped, so that they want to understand how do you come out of it. That's the whole thing. And that's what you need to work upon. That's the beauty of the interview session. Am I right, ma'am?
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. Your every character traits, good or bad, whatever you will bring to the table, that will be cross-checked.
Yes, yes. And the moment, ma'am says that, remember one thing, get this out of your head that you can bluff away in the interview or GD, let alone that, you'll not be able to do it. Those 3 people or 2-member panel sitting in front of you has experience way more than what you can think of as well. At least 25, 30 years with each of them. So we're talking of something like a 60 to 100-year experience. Please don't try to bluff. They'll be able to catch you, then throw you out. In a very simple way, throw you out. Right? It's better. Start from today. Write down what you know about yourself during the night and start preparing how would you answer questions. For heaven's sake, I came across a very good student when I was a part of, taking interviews for our students who had got IIM calls. And this one student, I asked about a business plan. Hang on, he did not have a business plan. He said, I want to start my own. I want to be an entrepreneur. I have a business plan in mind. That was more English than content. And the moment I asked him about a business plan, I have 20 years of work experience. What are you talking about? Can you bluff and move out of it? No, you cannot. Right? Hang on. Please don't do that. Work on yourself in a very simple way. Ma'am, over to the other six, or you want to add something, please? Yeah.
So the bluffing point made me remember one point. Suppose someone asks you that, do you read newspaper regularly? So just to follow your own personality, you say, yes, I read everyday newspapers and all. So immediately the cross question can be like, tell me one headlines from today's newspaper. Or tell me one headlines from yesterday's newspaper. Or they can point out some kind of current affairs that's a very recent one. And they can put questions on that. So whatever you say, you have to think twice before saying. Now, coming to one important pointer, which I missed, I guess. So when we talk about PI, the most important question is your introduction. How you introduce yourself. This is a very important question. And there are lots of myths regarding it. We have to understand, as I said, you for writing ability test, your introduction writing will decide that whether your assessor is going to read the whole stuff. In the same way, the way you introduce yourself, which we considered as a mother question in one PI, you have to understand why I'm doing it. People think it's an opportunity to break the ice. It's true. People think it's the best way to be friendly, to make us comfortable. They're doing it. It's right. But other than that, there are many other things. What are those? First, whatever you have written, right? Maybe in your resume or in the Google form shared with you. Are you aware? Do you remember what are the points you've written about yourself? So when you are introducing yourself, have you mentioned those important pointers? Second, time management. How much you are aware about it? Because people think if such question like introduction come, we can speak for at least 2-3 minutes. But that's not the right technique. The technique says it should be done within 30 seconds. It can be extended to 1 minute, not more than that, which we call as elevator pitch also. If you do a little bit of research, you will get all this terminology. Introductory question is actually called as elevator pitch. You're elevating yourself, right? Next, your body language. Next, content, your communication skills, your pronunciation, everything are cross-checked from that simple question, common question, like that is introduce yourself. So as I said, that every question are put and there is a purpose behind it for every single question. That is what you have to keep in mind. Suppose one more question, which is very common, is strength. If someone talks about your strength, tell me about your strength. The person will keep adding this, that. But once you add little bit of content to it, what kind of content? Suppose when I'm talking about my strength, you mention under what scenario you consider that this is your strength. That makes it more practical, more relevant, and it shows that आपने कहीं से mug up करके नहीं आए हो. You have really done research, you have sit with yourself, you have written the points, and then you have derived that, okay, these are my strength from my past experience. So that's how you can manage. And again, I'm telling for every question, you need to go for mocks. It's not going to be very easy. More you have mocks, more you get feedbacks. Very, very important. One more tip I should add over here. One most important technique, which I feel I have seen over the years now, that after every PI, whether it's mock or whether it's actual, please, after everything, just go back home, sit in a silent room and sit with yourself with a pen and paper. And please write down what are the things that could have been done in much better way. What are the things जो अच्छा नहीं हुआ या क्या कुछ मैं add कर सकता था? What are the questions where my pitch went down, where my pitch went a little bit up? So sitting with yourself, giving yourself analysis or giving yourself feedback is very, very important. And next important thing is don't be underconfident. Please, you know everything, you know yourself. If you are preparing in advance, you know yourself the most, I should say. Right, sir? I think you will agree with me.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Yes.
You know yourself the most. आपकी तरह आपको कोई पहचान नहीं सकता है. The thing that you need to do, that you need to sit, you need to follow the technique, you need to practice, and you need to know the techniques that how I'm going to handle each and every question of PI, each and every step of GD, like introduction, how to conclude a GD, right? If I don't know a GD, how to handle, if a case-based GD is given to me, what I should do, what are the technique I should follow, right? Or if I talk about writing ability test, if a snippet or a précis given to me to some extreme condition, kya karna hai? So if you sit with yourself and if you know what are the things that can be expected and what are the things I can follow to handle all this thing, I think this rounds are pretty easy with that mantra, believe in yourself. Over to you, sir.
Yep. So, we'll have to take up the questions which have been asked on the YouTube channel.
Sure.
The first question, which before we start compiling, because there's 10 minutes left, the first question comes from Akshita Bhatia. She says, what all topics should we prepare for VAT?
So for that, already I think we have discussed today, it can be factual topic, it can be current affair based topic, to some extreme it can be a pressure writing. It depends what B school you're actually applying for, what kind of exam you have taken. That also is there, that is also a condition. But still it is always better if you go for different kinds of topic like abstract, factual, analytical, any current affair based snippets, any case based studies given to you, or anything like pressy given to you. And there are some evergreen topics I already mentioned, like internet censorship. This is an evergreen topic, right?
So these topics, Akshita, will be discussed during our preparation, and get to the front end of Hitbullseye team to know more about how is this covered. But there will be an in-depth. Obviously, we cannot do everything in one hour. There's a flow of sessions which is done to answer. But whatever, thank you, ma'am, for answering that question in whatever limited time that we have. Next question also comes from Akshita. Is the preparation of GDPI and VAT same for all B schools, or does it vary from college to college?
I already mentioned in my last answer that yes, it varies from colleges to college. It depends. There can be extempore also, sir. Right?
Akshita, I like to answer your question in this way that 90% of the preparation remains the same. Okay, 10% obviously before you go for the B school, because there's another question which can be asked from you is why do you want to get into why do you want to get into RB school? Why did you select RB school? So so there are certain things that 10% of the preparation has to be done just before going for the interview or the GDPI for that. What has been happening over the past years, and then you do that, and that's how you're prepared. So in a very simple way, cricketing team, those cricketers remain the same. They have the same skill set, but they reach 5-6 days before they prepare according to that stadium. Okay, right. They get acclimatized.
The pitch matters. The pitch matters.
Yes. So next question comes with Naman. I think he wrote down that diplomat answer of weakness can be, I am unable to swim and fear from deep waters. What's your take on it, ma'am? I have my take, but first, what's yours? Yeah.
Okay, so if something given, if something given like there is a target which you have to manage in that condition, then what you're going to do? So you have to handle the question very wisely in that case. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Naman, everything depends on. So Akshita's thanking you, by the way. She just put in there for answering that question. If please, last chance, 5 minutes, ask your questions. We'll take up each of them. But Naman, I think being over smart, it's a very situational thing, right? My situation, my interview with the same panel just before yours could be different from your interview. Now, if I've not been able to answer a few questions and then I say, boss, I'm too smart, I'll say I have fear of deep waters and I cannot swim. That's my weakness. So, boss, you are out. Right? If you went all the way to Ahmedabad. Now, look at your answer. If you went all the way to Ahmedabad, I am Ahmedabad, and you answered this, will you answer this? It's not a casual thing, boss, happening, right?
Absolutely.
But, now I'll give another example. So you're right as well. I'm not saying you're not right. You're right as well, right? I'm having a very good interview, right? I have a sweet tooth. There are biscuits lying on the table. They've offered me a biscuit. I say, so this is my, and the question comes of weakness. So yes, definitely these biscuits, these cookies are my weakness. At that time, it's very right. So it's very situational, right? We cannot. And if you see it this way, 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be a stress situation. So you can say it in front of us, but it's going to be very different there. Right?
Absolutely. The actual scenario is going to be different. Jitna bhi hum mug up karke jaye, jo bhi ho, mistakes hoga, and we have to balance out.
And a person who can say that is going to be one person who knows. So we've had those students as well. Such clarity of thought process, such stable minds. I would say though that, that 21-year-old at times is more stable than a 35-year-old. Has that clarity in his mind, or a 40-year-old. We've interviewed students like those as well. Right? Even they would just withdraw themselves from giving that answer because, or maybe, in the best situation, they might answer. But I would like to be a little wary of that answer, bache. Is my take. The next question comes from Mena. But Mena, I'll request you. I scored 217 in NMAT. But for this, you'll have to get to the front desk of Hitbullseye. We're taking up a different section this time. So the front desk team of Hitbullseye is the best suited to answer this question. Right? Sorry for not being able to answer this, but not the right question because there are more things to be understood in this question. Right? So which colleges? Hitbullseye team, always there for you. We're always there, but not at this session, right? Okay. So ma'am, last 5 minutes to compile the session. Yeah.
So whatever we have discussed, I feel the most important thing is it is good to get an idea, but it is equally important to connect your idea from point A to point B. whether I talk about writing ability test, whether I talk about GD, whether I talk about PI. In PI, there can be stress interview. So you have to be mentally prepared that what can be done, how to manage such kind of situation. What is actually a stress interview? ऐसे तो हम stress में रहते when we go for actual situation. What sir has also said, right? Actually, it's totally different. But specifically, आपको पता कैसे चलेगा that what kind of interview, stress interview? That also you should know. So that आप पहले से ही घबराओ मत. You are nervous, you are showing your anxiety. That should not be done, right? So knowing the things are very important. Same for writing ability test and same for GD. Next, you have to understand, I believe this is the truth of our life. Whether we join a job after clearing our all this studies and all, or whether we become an entrepreneur, we have to understand that we are into this role and there will be problem that we have to sort out. Sir will agree with me, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? That is the most important point
Yes.
that you have to keep in mind. So same kind of little bit of vibe up apne andar rakho that there will be problem and I am there to solve it. So don't get underconfident, don't get nervous. Just prepare yourself that इससे ज्यादा टफ आएगा तो क्या होने वाला है. As we say that there are 3 things that we should do while we plan for competitive examination. That is easy, moderate, and difficult. If you in advance practice all these 3 levels of question, topics, and all in advance, that will not a problem for you. But अगर आप सोच के जाओगे कि easy होगा या difficult होगा, तब वो हो जाता है ना कि simple problem का simple solution चाहिए था. But हमने complex solutions सोच लिया. So that will also not work out. So balancing that thing is also very important. Next, it is not important that your communication skill should be down or your communication should be very good. It should be average. To make it average, there are many things that you should do. You should start doing right now. There are many people who are not in the habit of speaking. For them especially, pick up any objects from your room and start picking about it. Record your voice and see how you're speaking on it. Random exercises are this. As I said, for goal setting exercises, if you feel मुझे नहीं पता है कि मुझे क्या achieve करना है, start writing what you don't want in your life. Immediately we'll come back to goal setting exercise. Next, for the writing ability test, आपको पता होना चाहिए what is happening around your environment, because nobody wants philosophical data from you. Nobody wants a specific keywords definition from you. Jot down quotation, proverbs, anecdotes, some kind of interesting fact randomly. Start writing. Because जब आप लिखते हो, वो चीज आपके दिमाग में बैठ जाता है. So start writing them. When you're practicing, suppose you're writing a topic for writing ability test. Open that notebook or keep that notebook beside you. Pick up the pointers, pick up the proverb, pick up the quotation. Because habit भी तो बनाना है ना, सिर्फ लिखने से काम नहीं चलेगा. So habit building is another important step that we have to follow for all these 3 rounds. I think I've spoken enough. If anything remains, sir, you can point out.
Yeah, so I'll give the concluding statements here. Bache, obviously this 1 hour session is not sufficient. What we tried to do today was make this as a kickstart your preparation towards all the three areas. And in this 1 hour, try to answer questions on all the 3 topics. Otherwise, sessions will be distributed either for GDPI or practice for GDPI or VAT or case studies. So there'll be individual sessions to give you the basics and prepare you with mock GDs, mock PIs, and all that stuff. However, we took this as an opportunity to introduce all the 3 topics to you, put them across to you, but the preparation needs to start now. Okay, another thing that I like to add here, over the last 20-25 years, rather more than that, Hitbullseye has compiled some best practices and has also, the faculty is also aware and the institute is also aware about what goes wrong in certain situations. So it's very important for you to attend all those sessions, and plus for good percentiles, there are certain free sessions available as well. Get in touch with the Hitbullseye team at the front desk. They'll guide you more. But so even when I was answering certain questions, it's good to ask questions. Why? Because don't make a mistake in the end during the final thing. Make a mistake today, we'll guide you right, we'll hold your hand. we'll tell you, you're not thinking in the right situation. You're not thinking situationally. You're thinking something, uh, don't try to oversmart them. It's not going as per the situation is what I'm trying to say. So for all that, you need to attend those basic sessions. You need to attend those mock interviews. And as we always say at Hitbullseye that, not the same person should not be taking your interview more than once. Why? Because, you need to prepare for different situations. So thank you so much, ma'am. All the best to all our students. We feel the next 25, 30 days are enough, are more than enough for you to prepare and excel at this session. We'll fight a lot. We'll question, re-question. We'll, improve you on how are you trying to answer certain questions. That's where the beauty of this preparation comes, because it's unlike quant that if there's a particular answer, that's a particular answer. No, right? What answer is good for you may not be good for the other person, right? May not be the ideal for the other person. So that's what we are trying to answer over the next 30 days. All the best. Prepare well. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us from Bombay, all the way from Bombay. That's how technology helps us and our students. Great.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, sir. And one thing I just want to add, that let all these 3 rounds becomes a discovery for you.
Yes.
Let's consider in that way, a discovery of a new self, a new personality. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes. And even if someone's not got a call right now, please start preparing. Why? Because the way you see it is going to completely change now, right? The way you see all these 3 areas is going to completely change now. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Start preparing. Bye. Take care.
God bless. Bye-bye. Thank you, sir.